Hey, goedemiddag allemaal. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday afternoon, 1 o'clock, so it's time for DiamondpigsTV. And this is a very good week to do it because what a week we had. It was a great week for crypto, a great month for crypto. And also we have the Miami Bitcoin conference, the biggest conference on Bitcoin and actually also crypto, even though in the name you wouldn't expect it, but they talk about everything. And together with Idan and I are going to talk you through it. And of course, we love to answer all the questions you have and pay attention to what you're interested in. So the more you react, the more we can get into it. Hi, Idan. How was your month? And how was your week?
It was a good week. It was a good week. Weather wasn't a great year, but crypto-wise, we had again another interesting week. And yes. Let's dive into it, right? Let's talk about that.
I'd love to see how you did it. Okay, let's first talk about the news of the week. And first, of course, I want to know, how is the crypto index, fear index, doing? And here we have it. Well, in the last 2 weeks, from 37 to 40. Okay, so it became a teeny little bit better. Okay. It's just I had a lot of talks with professional investors, and they said, it's just like, and I said, it's amazing. Every time I talk about buying the dip, nobody reacts, and every time when it goes up 35%, so it became 35% more expensive to buy, everybody goes, yes, we're gonna buy. And they said, yes, this is the crypto world. The retail buyers buy at the highest point, and they sell at the lowest point to get rid of their fear. And so it's nice to see that the fear index became a little bit less fearful, but really, I mean, every time I think we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a DiamondpigsTV episode which says buy the dip, and we showed buy the dip, and yeah, we had a few reactions, and a lot of people, some of our clients basically bought the dip. We saw that, but in general, that hasn't happened. But now we see that everybody is buying again. So how is the market doing at the moment, Idam?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. The fear and greed index, it can be confusing if you can go back to it for a second. So when it goes up, the greed is up. When it goes down, the fear is higher. So the fear is a little bit higher right now than it used to be 2 weeks ago. And it has to do, I think, a little bit with what's happening in the US and in the Fed. And we'll talk about it, and we'll see how the Bitcoin that was on its way to 53 and it was on 47K dropped in the last week. We'll talk all about that.
But Idan, one question. I thought the fear index, the more it gets to the green, the more greed there is, and the more it's in the red, the more fear it is. So
correct.
Now, I mean, on the right-hand side is the latest one, or is the right-hand side the oldest one?
Yeah, so I might have confused you. So we did two things. On the right-hand side was 2 weeks ago. And that
so it became a little bit more fearful. Yeah, so
we're a little bit more fearful, but we are kind of stable. Let me share some of the screens and some of the chart, and we'll have a look at it. So first of all, I want to start with the B2C USD chart, and so what we see here is that the Bitcoin has he's still an upward trend from the 14th of March. You remember that was where the Fed was meeting about 3 weeks ago. But somewhere a few days ago, on the 5th of April, so I think it's 5 days ago, we saw a big drop. What happened is that that again has to do with the Fed, and again has to do with the fact that the Fed revealed some of its protocols from the meeting, and what appears to be what it looks like is that they want to be much more hawkish than they actually seemed like they were. So they want to increase the interest rate a bit more than they actually did, and everyone expects now that in the next Fed meeting they will increase the rate not in 0.25 but in 0.50. And again, the tech stock tumbled, and that the crypto is still a little bit correlated to the tech, and you could see that the Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto assets went down as well. But it's stabilized now. And what we also see, and that I think it's really interesting, and let me show you that. Let's look at the BTC dominance, because the BTC dominance continues to go down. It went a little bit up, and now it's again on its way down. We're looking at 41.6%, and that means that the altcoins are performing pretty well versus Bitcoin.
A little better. I mean, it's a little change, but yeah. So at least it means that the crypto coin, that the altcoins didn't do worse than Bitcoin.
Did the worse. They do a little bit better. We could see it also in our strategies and the performance we've done in the last month. And there are a couple of reasons why. I mean, a lot of big layer one platforms are raising a lot of money. One of them is the Near protocol that just announced that they're raising another $230 million. I believe about $350 million. It's the second time this year. And you can see that the price is almost reaching all-time high. So they used to be on the 20 before the crash, and now they are on 18.3. This morning they were already on about.
So talk to me about Near for a second. I mean, you have invested in Near. You've been talking about it on Diamond Pigs before. What is Near? What does Near do?
And here's another layer one protocol. It's like an Ethereum, and there's a lot of like the Avalanche ones and some other competitors of Ethereum. Near is a relatively new one. And there's a lot of big venture capitals that are investing a lot of money on it, and that's the reason why
that means real money. They don't make money by selling their coins, but they make their money by raising money from venture capital. And you say that's 350 million, and it's the second time this year. What do they do with that money? I mean, what is it? Is it a company? Does it have shares? Is it is it decentralized in any way, or is it just a company which makes a blockchain and which has a specific view?
Well, what they will do is that they would incentivize their network to build more protocols on the network, and the layer one or the platform, the protocols that will build the most protocols, they will be the one that will be the most successful one. And now you do that, you incentivize the development community, and you give them money in order to build some protocols on some application on your protocols, and that's what they do. And once you start an incentivize program, you see very often that the price start going up. We saw it with Avalanche a few weeks ago. We see it right now with Near. So that's a little bit about Near. Another thing was the Luna.
And you have invested in which strategies in Diamond Pigs are investing in Near?
So Diamond Pigs invested actually in three of our strategies. Duroc, Pennywell, and Genoa are sitting in Near. I think three of them, approximately 10% of our portfolio is invested in Near, and Berkshire is the top 10. So we don't have it yet, but I think that next month, if Near continues its trend, next month Berkshire will have Near as well in its portfolio. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Another reason why the alts are doing well is Luna. Luna is continuing to increase. Actually, Luna was let's go to the Luna one. Luna was already on the 120 a few days ago, and they went down to 100. So some people took some profit, but the trend is pretty clear. Look, Vincent, what's happening here? From the 21st of February, they were on 49, and they ended up a few days ago on 120. And
but it's a nice run.
It's a nice ride. Yeah. It's a really nice ride, and it has to do with the fact that the community believes that Luna is going to be the biggest stablecoin around. So what we saw, the Do Kwon, the CEO of Luna, has bought lots of Bitcoin in order to make his reserve much more secure. And that gave him the last jump from here when he started announcing that he's buying Bitcoin until here, and now he stopped buying Bitcoin, And he also contributed a lot to the big increase of Bitcoin from 37 to 47, what we saw in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I was at Bitvavo today, which is a Dutch exchange. They have about 1 million users, and they just announced that they also added Luna to the picture. I mean, so they did a good job in that respect. Okay, so Near and Luna, and we invest in both of them. So those are very interesting. Interesting that those are very fundamental coins, right? I mean, it's not very specific. It's more the competition with Ethereum is the most interesting one. We talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago about Ethereum. Very exciting what's going to happen in June if they're going to proof of stake. If that's going to work out, we'll pay attention to that a little bit later. Okay, let's take a look at. We always look at DeFi Llama to see what are the dominant networks, where are the projects. You see that Ethereum is, of course, the big dinosaurs, but they're moving down and they're slowly going down more. And you see that, and we see that Luna here is Luna and Terra, and here is BSC. The Avalanche, and which one is this? Others. Okay, yeah. So,
but if you scroll down a bit,
they're growing quite a bit.
Yeah, if you scroll down a bit, you can see. So obviously, Luna is growing a lot. BSC is the BNB, is the Binance network, the platform. Yeah. Very big. Avalanche is growing a lot. Avalanche, a lot of people say, mainly in the US, that Avalanche is going to be the biggest competitor of Ethereum. It's doing very well. Also launched an incentive program not so long ago. But if you scroll down a little bit, I want to show you Near. Near is not a very big protocol right now. Is number 11. But look, they grew 180% in the last month, 58% the last 7 days, and 25% in the last day. So they're growing very fast. They have 33 protocols on their layers. And yeah, they're the one of the promising one that we are looking at. So that again, DeFi Llama gives us a very good, it's a good data source for us, resource to know where we want to invest, which are the protocols that are making good movements, and the trends, and where we need to invest our money.
I'm showing. I'll share the link in the notes that you can see, that you can look it up for yourself. Let me see. We should know if Luma is going down a lot while most other coins were going up, says somebody from LinkedIn. But I don't think Luna went down a lot. That's what
I think. Luna went up a lot, and when they stopped buying Bitcoin, then some people took some profit. But I think it's only temporarily. Luna, Luna in terms of fundamental is a very, very strong coin. And maybe it's a good opportunity to buy in right now for Luna, because they went down. They may go down a little bit more, but they're still in upward trends. And let's see, let's see. The other thing is that a little bit more technical. Luna offer the protocols that's offering saving, and that protocol is offered so far. If you go back to DeFi Llama, Vincent, and you click on you click on Luna, you can see all the applications that are on the Luna ecosystem.
Okay, I'll get back to that now. Yeah, which one do you want to go to?
On Luna, on Terra Luna. Yeah, did you click on that link? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you see the biggest protocol called Anchor, and Anchor offers 20% interest rate if you put your money in Anchor. And so that was one of the reasons that Luna grew so fast, because they could get a lot of USD locked into Anchor. I actually have some funds on Anchor, and I get actually 20% per year on the money. But lately, a few weeks ago, they decided that that's too much. And that's too much because that was more marketing. It was a marketing thing to offer so much money. But now they have enough funds, and they're going to reduce the interest rate slowly but surely towards 12 or 13%. So that can be another reason why the Luna price is going down a bit.
Okay, but I think it's going up and a little bit down. I mean, the trend is pretty clear, and also the amount of projects which are putting their mouth where the money where their mouth is of course interesting that all these protocols are there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at. I thought, Michael Sauer is again taking his purse and spending 190 million. It's interesting how this macro strategy they have gained so much in publicity, not because of the software, but buying a Bitcoin, and they're adding to their balance sheet 190 million at an average price. So they keep on buying. It's really interesting how that how he has a strategy in that.
I think it's by far the biggest now with 4 billion at average price. 40 million, $4 billion worth of Bitcoin. So that's
and I think didn't Tesla have 1.5 billion or something like that? So he's the biggest one. He must have a lot of cash, free cash. I mean, it's just like that MicroStrategy itself must also be an incredible, profitable company that they can just put in hundreds of millions in there. But it's interesting to see that somebody who's really so enthusiastic, also at 45,000, says, "I'm continuing to buy up to that." Multiple people should be able to do that.
Michael Saylor is interviewing a lot. Yesterday, I was in a conference together with Katie Woods from ARK, and they had a fire chat session together. I wasn't really impressed with it. He didn't say a lot of new things in his session yesterday. But if you want to know who Michael Saylor is, I recommend to watch 20 minutes or 30 minutes from yesterday. Fire chat between him and Katie Wood from ARK.
I would love to. I would love to see that, because I mean I love Katie Wood. I mean, she is such an enthusiastic person. Yeah. I thought it was interesting. She's the one who says I'm so excited. She's always been very excited about Tesla. The moment that it was trading at 200, she says it was going to do 4,000. It's been split in 5, and now it's at about 800, 900. So she says, well, we still invest in Tesla. We still believe it can go up 3 times, but we actually feel that Bitcoin and crypto has a much higher potential and is going up. And I sort of trust. I mean, she's very much forward looking. She's always long term. And
so it's a nice one to watch. That was to watch from yesterday. It's not
okay. We'll try to pick up we'll try to give you the link of that. But we're going to a couple of other speakers more. Yeah. So this one we already talked about. That was I thought it was it 350 million, but Luna added 230 million of the Bitcoin. Right. Okay, so
the 350 was near, and 230 they added another one. I think they are now together then 1.6 billion. So the number 2, they just over Tesla. So Do Kwon is the CEO of Luna, and he said, I'm going to add 1.6 billion Bitcoin worth to my reserve. So, so people can trust my UST, my Luna stablecoin. And he did that. He bought that contributed, of course, to the price increase in the last 2 weeks. And now he stopped. But he's number 2 after Michael Saylor. Number 3 is Tesla, as far as we know, in terms of Bitcoin holders.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that was the market analysis. And let's take a look now at how we've been doing at DiamondpigsTV, because I think you had a pretty good time, right? I mean, I saw you outperformed Bitcoin quite a bit. Maybe can you comment on you already said that you made some good investments. Can you maybe go into that a little bit deeper? What the different investment strategies that DiamondpigsTV were doing?
Vincent, let me take. Let me take the screen.
You can take the screen.
I'll take the screen. So I think what we saw on the Bitcoin dominance, and we see on the Bitcoin, we see that with the DiamondpigsTV had quite a good month. And while Bitcoin has increased 12.63%, our strategies on average increase just a little bit above 20%. And again, those are the selection of coins that we are making. But also,
can you tell me a little bit about which coins you selected, which were the real winners this week?
Yeah, so one of the winners is obviously Luna. The other one, Near, we talked about.
Can you go to, for example, to Genua, and if you click on Genua, you can see the coins. which are in there. I mean, we just want to show that everybody, if you're with Diamond Pigs, we show everything as much as we possible we can, and then you see that.
So maybe a little bit about maybe a little bit about Genoa. Genoa is an active trading swing strategy, which means that we are buying, we are building a portfolio consisted of very strong fundamentally coins, right? So we have a lot of L1 coins, a lot of platforms like Near and like Cosmos and like Phantom and like Secret, which is a privacy protocol. Then we have a few DeFi related project like Aave, which is the biggest DeFi protocol right now. CRV from Curve, which plays in a very important role in the DeFi world. And then we're looking at some gaming. Sometimes we select more gaming and metaverse coins, sometimes less. Right now there's no sentiment, but Axie Infinity, we'll talk about that, but it was ACT. And we actually had a little bit of luck because we have took a lot of profit a few weeks ago from Axie just before the price went down. And then when the one price down after the hacked, we went in again. So that was one of the reasons that Renoir was doing really well. But the idea of these trading funds is that you buy low and you take profit once those coins are starting to move up. That's the idea, and that worked pretty okay in the last weeks.
Okay, pretty cool. Let me see, and then the other one, Pennywell. Pennywell is the one which only has coins which have a little bit less energy, so nothing with Bitcoin and other things like that, and no Ethereum. So I see also a lot of Terra and Avalanche and the Binance coin.
The big difference between Pennywell and Renoir is that Pennywell is not a trading fund. It's also not an index fund because we are buying and selling here, but we are creating a strong portfolio and we keep it. And once we feel, okay, this coin either is an issue with, or this coin has increased too much, and the RSI or any other indicator indicate us now it's time to move to another coin, we do that. And we choose from the top 50 markup. So those are very strongly, fundamentally strong coins. But we are not taking profit and we're not doing it like a swing. It's just an active funds with some very, very good coins. That's about Pennywell, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so far from Diamond Pigs. I thought it was interesting. I was giving a presentation for what is their name in Zeeland. I gave a crypto presentation
Rotary.
The Rotary Club in Zeeland, and it was interesting to say. I mean, I did a little bit about the history of Bitcoin and crypto, and also where the hacks were, where the safety and the security was. And of course, I talked about Mount Fox, who basically which lost a lot of Bitcoin, which is actually being distributed now in these weeks. Some of the money has been recovered, I think 20%, but that is worth a hell of a lot more money, of course, than the original money. But it was interesting to see this, to see that the amount of money which was hacked, that the amount of monies have become much bigger, and also what happens is if exchanges are being hacked, that for some kind of reason they reimburse everybody. And I saw that also that there was a round led by Binance to reimburse the attack of Ronin. So there seems to be more of a responsibility to say, hey, if the exchange is hacked, that the people who have the money in there get it reimbursed in some kind of way. They raise money, or they do some other things, or they have just funds enough to pay people back. So that is not an official security, but that is more that is expected of exchanges if they can afford it in any way, shape, or form. And then how does it work? I mean, it is led by Binance. So Binance is letting around to reimburse and they raise 150 million to reimburse the people who've lost money in the hack.
Yeah, the Sky Mavis is Taiwanese based company that actually created Axie Infinity. It's a play to earn gaming. It's the most famous and most popular and the biggest gaming in the industry. And they had a bridge they have a lot of side bridge, and that's not getting to the technicality, but through one of them is the Ronin network, and it was hacked. The funny thing was that no one really noticed. Only after a week, people started noticing that 150 million were stolen.
Sure.
So that's pretty interesting. But once they saw that, yeah, they promised, Sky Mavis promised that they would refund, they reimburse the victims, the gamers. They will they reimburse the money, and they did that by letting a funding round with Binance, led by Binance. That was just
Yeah,
announced a few
but
days ago.
Binance takes responsibility for some kind of a coin which was hacked, and so it's interesting why the connection is between Binance and these coins. Why would they do that?
I guess they would take stake. They would take stake in Sky Mavis. Sky Mavis just would give them some shares. And Axie Infinity is going to be huge. They earn a lot of money every day, so it's a pretty successful business. It's going to grow tremendously in the coming years. So I think it's a great investment, great decision investment by Binance.
Yeah, it was doing, of course, really, really well. I'm now sharing actually the link which I promised between Michael Sayer and Katie Wood. So Sayer and Katie Wood. So people can watch that. We don't have time to do it today. But I just want to say that I thought that was a really that's an interesting couple. Just like somebody who's leading a corporate account goes into Bitcoin on his asset sheet and becomes a Bitcoin fan base, and then also Katie Wood, which is a pretty smart innovation investor. So that's I just want to share that link with you guys. Okay. Anyway, and so this Bitcoin conference, maybe we can talk a little bit. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. Or actually, let's talk a little bit about some positive news. And that was that we talked about it. We had it actually on the program a week ago, but we weren't able to do that. And that was that some bright investors were investing in it. And one of them was Ray Dalio's Bridgewater. They invested in crypto funds. And this Ray Dalio's is an interesting guy. I mean, he has the biggest hedge fund, but he is quite a thinker. He's a forward thinker.
He's amazing. I'm a big fan of Ray Dalio. First of all, he has the biggest fund. I think he's the second biggest investor in the US after Warren Buffett, the most successful one. But he's also a big thinker, a visionary, and he can think through and look at the history very well to analyze what's happening in the present and the future. And I thought that we will share a good video that he made. It looks at the geopolitics of today to the lens of history, and how the model of rise and fall of empires has been seen in the past, and how we see that again and again and again also in the present and in the future. So I recommend it's not a very long video, but I recommend to everyone to take some time and to watch that. So, but I think that in
and it is. I mean, I looked at also. It is about how money actually is created. Who's creating money? Where does it go? How do empires go up and down? And it's I find and he's basically the voiceover, and he made the video. Gives a huge impression of how does money, power, world empires are connected. The Dutch. We are in it too. The Dutch are basically really great because we're fantastic. We started with stocks, and then here is the Dutch. I'm really proud of that. And then of course came the English and the Americans, and then other things are coming. Of course, the Chinese their years will come too. So I'm sharing that. I'm sharing that with you guys too.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the
I'll also put it in
Sapien.
the show notes.
It's a little bit like the Sapien of Harari, right? It's a one to watch, and one to watch maybe twice or three times until you get it. But it gives you a very good perspective of where we are right now and how is that related to the money and in the US and China, etc., right now. So highly recommended. But he's also started investing in Bitcoin, and for years he was very much against Bitcoin. He didn't believe in it. And he admitted a couple of months ago, I was wrong. It was for me too early. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that the network effect would be so big. And now he's investing in Bitcoin actively, and it's another sign that that Bitcoin is growing and it's getting into more and more to the mainstream. And so it's one was worth mentioning that as well.
Yeah. Okay. We shared it. One of my favorite ones is Jamaat, who was one of the first investors in Facebook and Uber and that kind of stuff. So, except that he's able to make a lot of money, he really was one of the first guys to criticize Silicon Valley for being way too dominant, way too playing around with stuff of society. That society became really dependent on them, and saying we need to take responsibility. You cannot say that communication is just a platform and that you're just a technical platform. No, you have to take responsibility for it. He's also been one of the first to speak out of traditional investors, although he's very modern one, and said he was very much into stocks and crypto assets. And I think he is a real great thinker. And I want to share one of the videos with you guys. Let's put that on there. That's over here, and you have to. We'll listen to it for a little bit. And he was asked here to say what he was thinking about the latest trends and the impact of the sanctions, the globalization, and that kind of stuff. So let's see if we can listen a couple of minutes.
Really isn't much quote unquote bad news that hasn't been priced in. The thing that I've learned over the last few years is that markets don't actually care what the news is. They can process good news and bad news equally well. What they despise is the uncertainty of what the news could be. And so this week was really important because we had two huge buckets of uncertainty taken out of the market. So the one we've already talked about, which is when the market saw that there was a surface area of a deal between Ukraine and Russia that was really constructive, because neither side would have signaled something if both parties were very far apart. So that meant to the markets, we're a few weeks out from something getting done. And then the second thing was Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. They finally had their meeting. They raised rates 25 basis points. But even more importantly, they gave you a very prescriptive forecast of what the next year will look like at a minimum, and possibly even 2 years. And once you could have that, you were able to then go and redo all of your expectations. And what people realized was, okay, inflation may actually start to get tamed in the back half of the year. The economy is still quite strong. And we could actually support 2.5% interest rates and still actually grow really well. And so what you've seen in the last 3 or 4 days is a reaction to the loss of uncertainty. And so there really isn't now. The only thing, the fly in the ointment could be if the war all of a sudden escalates. Not that it gets dragged on, because at that point that's also, I think, been priced in. But if something very meaningfully different and Russia in this case ratchets up the intensity by going, nuclear or something else, although I think that's a very long tail.
Chemical weapons seems a possibility, or carpet bombing.
I think these are all very, very low probability events. But in the absence of these things, you basically have really constructive dynamics right now for at least the next month and a half, maybe even 2 months.
How much of this has to do with retail investors who were YOLO, hodlers, speculators, stimmy checks, getting super active for 2 years and then maybe getting super spooked right now and maybe needing the money to deploy in their lives?
Look, the thing to remember, and I hate to be this blunt, but it's true. Retail is not a very good signal of anything. In fact, if you actually look at retail flows, typically you will make money by doing the exact opposite of what retail does. And I posted this in the group chat to you guys. Every single day of since the beginning of this year, retail was a net buyer. In all of those days, the market got punched in the face. Finally, at the beginning of March, retail capitulated, right? And I posted that same day and I said, guys, this is the moment to buy. And lo and behold, what happened? The markets rallied meaningfully from that point. And the reason is because they were going into the end of Q1. You have a huge tax bill due in April 15th. People were starting to just finally give up. They were buying every single day and they finally gave up. But that capitulation was the moment that you buy. So if anything, retail is the, I've said before, you fade your fade list. Retail flows are something you typically will make money by fading, by doing the exact opposite of whatever retail is doing.
Yeah, wow. That is really, he's saying it. It's a fantastic signal. The moment that retail goes out of the market, that is the moment that everything, a couple of days later, everything goes up. And he's full of these kinds of very astute observations, which I really enjoy, I must say. So I can really recommend it. I shared it with his.
We've seen it in the last wave in Bitcoin. When in the crypto, when everything went up in November, then the retailer stepped in, and of course everything went down, and the retailer lost a lot of money. And they, with the weekends, usually are the one who leaving first. And now when the market starts picking up, they don't dare to go back to the market. Retailer is not back yet. And once they'll be back, then we'll see that there will be another spike. But let's see how they ended it. So.
If you guys are interested in these kinds of conversations, every Thursday, Thursday at 8 o'clock, we have a webinar where we basically talk more about Diamondpigs. What is Diamondpigs? We're a platform where you can, we don't take money, but we invest money which you have in your own wallet. It's your wallet, and we have strategies, and you can connect the wallets and the strategies, and we will execute it for them. So that is the Diamondpigs platform. And we give a demo, we explain, and we answer questions every Thursday at 8 o'clock. And I'm just, if you go to diamondpigs.com, and when you scroll down and you basically connect to the webinar, I have an hour every Thursday where we can just discuss what's happening in the different strategies, what is the principle of our solution and our offering. So this is actually why we're in the market. And we're in the market because we were really interested. We're really interested. I organized blockchain conference. Idan is a very good investment. We have from a bunch of people who are really very knowledgeable in this area. And we created this platform. We said, hey, there's a lot of people who have money into it, about 15% in America. In the Netherlands, it's about the same. All over Europe, it's between 8 and 15%. But everybody just buys coins. And that is not a very good way to minimize the risk. So we have strategies with between 5 or 15 different coins, and by signing up with us, you get a nice, well-rounded investment portfolio, and it's automatically executed. We completely make it easy for people to invest in a smart way in it. So that's what we actually do here, and DiamondpigsTV is really because we are already investing. We're looking at all these trends. We're selecting all these coins, and we just like to share that with anybody who's interested, and of course also with, especially with our clients, which are growing very rapidly now. Not during the dip, but of course afterwards. But we want to make sure that everybody realizes, hey, please, if you want to get into crypto, buy the dip. Get in there when everything goes down. That's a much more interesting time to look at it than when everything goes up. But anyway, that's we can keep that. We can keep saying that more and more. Okay,
let's talk about Miami. Let's talk about Miami.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah,
right
Miami.
now. Yeah.
That's really Miami has always been a very interesting. Has been a very interesting conference because at that there is always a lot of things happening. What happened? What happened last year? Do you remember? There was just somebody who basically got on stage and he has something to say about what was it?
So before, so the conference, Bitcoin conference, and that's sponsored or is initiated by Bitcoin Magazine, was started a few years ago. It was started in San Francisco, actually, not in Miami. And I think the first conference was there were about 4,000 people attended. Last year, but something really interesting happened. There were 12,500 people attending, and this year already 25,000 people attending Bitcoin. And there's a lot of things happening. What last year happened, it was the very famous announcement of El Salvador. The president of El Salvador came to the podium. No one really knew what it's going to say, and he say, "Hey, Bitcoin is going to be a legal tender in my country," and that made lots of noise. Yesterday, actually, a very prominent senator from Mexico announced that she's going to make sure that Mexico will be the next country that the Bitcoin will be a legal tender. So that was a big one. And then an island in Honduras and in Portugal also announced that Bitcoin's become a legal tender. So we see slowly or surely more and more.
Don't forget another country which has been in the news a little bit.
Ukraine, and today actually,
Ukraine.
One of the ministries of infrastructure, something like that's going to be giving a speech in day 3 in the conference. But yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing that I want to talk about is about Jack Mallers and Strike. Maybe we can look about that. So we also have a small piece of a video, but just before Strike is a payment network, and it's only focused it's actually a Bitcoin payment network. If you read the mission is to make the Bitcoin network easily accessible and usable. We choose the Bitcoin network because it's uncensorable, unfreezable, permissionless, borderless, and offers cash finality.
Yeah,
now he gives
a story before, but what does it do?
Yeah. Basically, it connects. He allows transaction between a merchant to the consumer. He wants to replace the credit card that infrastructure that was invented in 1949, according to him. And he gave a whole speech yesterday about the history of credit card, and there was actually absolutely no innovation before that. And then he came up with some announcement, and let's hear a couple of minutes of his announcement.
The largest point of sale provider in the entire planet, NCR. Yeah. Because we just got to give merchants the new superior alternative payment network. And so this year, have you guys ever shopped at any of these? Any of these? Yeah. McDonald's, Walmart, Macy's, Best Buy. I mean, no, this is not in another country. This is not a test pilot somewhere. No, this is in the United States of America. You're going to be able to walk in to a grocery store, to Whole Foods, to Chipotle. You want to use a Lightning node over Tor? You do that. You want to use the Cash App? You do that.
Yeah.
Let's walk through that.
And it's always interesting to see what this happens. This is a nice big announcement, and I love the way they do that in America. But NCR is a huge cash register company where they basically where all the people pay, and in that system they're going now to announce that it's going to be possible to accept the Lightning version of Bitcoin, which means it's very cheap and very fast.
Correct.
But
correct.
do you know that all these retailers have said that they will also use that, and because NCR is able to offer it, but will all the retailers also provide it?
No, he didn't say that. He said that he talks to many of them, and he gave some examples of some of those just after that announcement. He also talked about integration with Shopify, which was very interesting. So I think he said, well, so far Bitcoin was considered to be a store of value, and he said it went up with the price and etc. But we are here to show that it can be also an exchange one, and we can use it really as money, and we can replace the credit cards and the cash, and we're going to do that, and that's the first step. We're going to do that is working with a few senators to ensure that it's also all covered in the legalization in the US. And I think it's big news. Big news for Bitcoin.
It was a big news. I mean, there was a rumor that he was going to announce something with Apple, right? I mean, and that was really that was a persistent rumor, but I couldn't believe that was true. I don't think that in this very unsure time when it's not clear what legislation will be provided, that Apple will step into it. But this already, NCR is a big platform underneath all the payment systems. Yeah. And it will be very interesting that all these retailers will start accepting it. But it's the same with in Europe. We have Molly, and Molly is actually a Dutch payment processor. And for every retailer who wants to accept Bitcoin, it's just a question of click, one little keystroke, and then suddenly you can on the cash register, you can basically, it will provide a PIN and a QR code. You can scan it and pay for it. What I thought was really interesting here is Lightning, that they were doing the Lightning version. And just for people who are not familiar with Lightning so much, the basics are that, of course, the Bitcoin network is extremely safe. And it's been hacked all over the place. Nobody has been able to hack it. It's very reliable. It's very secure. But it can do 300,000 transactions a day. And the costs are, a couple of dollars, depending. Sometimes $50, sometimes $2. But it's volatile expensive. The Lightning Network is a second layer of solution on top of it. And that will allow it to have millions of transactions to, in terms of pennies, of parts of pennies, and extremely fast. And that means that not every transaction is in the blockchain, but more the summary of all these transactions. And that starts to come up. And that basically means we can do millions of transactions at low cost. And that Lightning is already now included in Jack Mellor's platforms from Strike is quite an interesting thing. Now we'll see how much traction that will get. I thought another one was interesting, that Peter Thiel was there, right? Peter Thiel, the guys who started PayPal, and he was and he is a real he's a billionaire. He also together with Elon Musk, he started PayPal, and he has a couple of other big companies into Panemere, which works for the police and the military. And he was there at the BTC conference too. What was his message?
No, he was talking about, first of all, he was talking about him and Elon Musk and about their vision and mission of PayPal in 1999. It was nice. I don't know if you have a photo of him and Elon Musk. When they co-founded PayPal. He was talking about the velocity between the credit card and the gold, and how cash is somewhere in between, and how Bitcoin is about to take that over. And let's hear about that.
Okay, let's hear a little bit.
$3,000 today. Where does it go? What I like to say is that Bitcoin is always the most honest market in the world. It's the most efficient market. And it was the canary in the coal mine. It was telling us that the inflation was coming in the last 2 years, as it went from 5,000-6,000 up by a factor of 10x. It is telling us that the central banks are bankrupt, that we are at the end of the fiat money regime, and that's sort of what it has priced in. I think the central bankers, Mr. Powell, people like that, should be extremely grateful to Bitcoin, because it's the last warning they're going to get. They've chosen to ignore it, and they will have to pay the consequences for that in the years ahead. But let me ask let me come back to this question. Why has Bitcoin not yet gone to 100,000 to $1 million of Bitcoin? Why has it not yet converged with gold, or even with the equity markets more broadly? And what is going to, what is it going to take for this to happen? And I know that sort of the ways we often talk about businesses or technologies is how great the technology is, how great the code is, how great the math is, how it's sort of innovative. But I want to sort of suggest that we should maybe think of it at least in one dimension as sort of a political question, and it's a movement, and it's a political question whether this movement is going to succeed, or whether the enemies of the movement are going to succeed in stopping us. And so I want to maybe end with an enemies list, a list of people who I think are stopping Bitcoin. And they all have, many of them have, there's sort of a lot of them, they tend to have this sort of nameless, faceless bureaucrat perspective, which is of course one of the ways they hide. But we're gonna try to expose them and realize that this is sort of what we have to fight for Bitcoin to go 10x or 100x from here. So enemy number one. I think he's sort of.
We can stop that. I can share with you.
From Omaha.
I can share with you the list. It was talking about Warren Buffett, of course. He was talking about Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan. He was talking about Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, who talks about blockchain technology but ignores the Bitcoin. This is Larry Fink. And those three said, we need to go and fight them in order to make sure that Bitcoin is prevailing. So yeah, that was day two in cover. Another thing I wanted to mention was Robinhood. Robinhood, one of the directors from Robinhood came to talk, and she was. I think we have one slide on Robinhood. She was talking about introducing a Bitcoin wallet for the first time for Robinhood. And Robinhood is the most popular trading platform maybe in the world.
Yeah, they're the one who basically started with free trading. I can remember that was their thing.
A lot of young,
huge.
Yeah, the young generation, the young generation has chosen Robinhood, and they grew tremendously. And then she was talking about that. She was talking about the integration of Lightning, again, also in their platform, which is huge for Bitcoin. And the last thing she said is that Bitcoin is the first recurring buy asset for 2022, more than Apple and more than Tesla, and which is huge. So that means Bitcoin is very popular in the US, right?
Yeah. At the young people, right? I mean, because I think Robinhood is about 10 million users, and Robinhood is one of the most known ones, for young investors. I mean, I thought this Bitfavo, where it was this morning, which is just a Dutch company, they already have 1 million users, 1 million users, and a huge turnover, and that's only crypto. But these guys have become big. Robinhood has become big with shares. Yeah. And now they started with Bitcoin in 2018, and now it's the most traded asset. But you say also they have accepted Lightning in there.
They're starting integration with the Lightning network, and they introduced the Bitcoin wallet. So until now you couldn't have a wallet. You can trade in Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin was under their control. It wasn't yours. You just saw it digitally. You saw a data. You were in a database. Now you can have your own wallet, and you can just send it to wherever you want to send it. So that's huge for Bitcoin as well.
So that's a nice, and that's for young people. And what you slowly see that on the high end side, you have all these big investors which are getting into crypto, even though they first said we won't do it, but now they're starting into it. Even though we had all these enemies of Bitcoin, which was really fun with Peter Thiel, and then we also see that the young people are coming, and then you see that also the other platforms will slowly get into it. But if you really want to get into wealth management and get all these people who are investing their money in shares, if they also want to be in crypto, we need better legislation. We need more rules. And we also saw that we had an interesting couple of weeks at the MiCA, laws, which are being created in Europe. And they almost came with an amendment to say proof of work is forbidden. That meant that Ethereum and Bitcoin were out, while Ethereum is going to move to proof of stake anyway. But I mean, Bitcoin really doesn't want to hear about it, so that would have been interesting. That was just defeated. But now they come up with a law that if you are on an exchange and you want to send money from Binance or Bitfavo, it doesn't matter, to any other wallet, you have to have a KYC. The platform needs to do a KYC to send it to anywhere else. Which, I mean, everybody's moving their money to platforms because it's so easy, and of course the people who are originally in the whole business of crypto says, hey, it's only your own coins if you own the private keys. Yeah. But now the platforms have really taken over most of the market share, except for maybe the big whales who are doing it themselves. Yeah. But now the governance, the compliance of the central banks and all the institutions are going to these big platforms and saying, "Hey, these are the rules. You can only send money to people who have KYC." They make this easy system really difficult, and I really wonder what will happen. What will happen next? What do you think of something like that? I mean, we are all in favor of good, solid rules, but rules which make life impossible. And which you take the whole use out of the platform, that you can send money back and forth without a lot of trouble. Do you think this legislation will come to the individual countries? Will end it?
I don't know. So first of all, it doesn't pass yet, right? So they only voted for the first time, and then now they need to get into the real work, the real details at some stage. And I think we talked about it last week in one of our meetings, that they will have one KYC and they will automate the KYC for everyone. So it will be much easier to have KYC. I'm in favor of regulation, because I think that we'll see many more people going into crypto, investing in crypto, once the regulation will be clear. So I'm in favor of regulation, but it shouldn't be a pain, and they shouldn't make it impossible for us to invest, or extremely complex, because it can be already complex enough to invest in crypto. But we'll see. Look, we are 2 years before, one and a half before the MiCA introduction. There's a lot of things going to happen until then, and it's going to be interesting. Let's follow it.
Yeah, I have to. I interviewed. I mean, that is the worst thing about Europe, that they say, well, we want to control everything. But on the other hand, there was this thing, let me see, the European identity. Why can't I not go to this place? I did an interview with an expert on European identity, because, of course, if they say KYC will become obligatory. This is a Dutch interview, but this guy says in 2024 there will be a European identity, and the European identity will be an identity which will basically come from the government of your own country. So if you have an identity with the Netherlands or with Germany or with France, with that you automatically will get a European identity. You will get also a European social security number, and then that number will be forced to be accepted at all the big platforms, the big streaming platforms, the big retail platforms, the big financial platforms. They all have to accept one way of KYC and one way of digital signature. And that, of course, will make it also much easier. You won't have to through a passport kind of thing. No, it will be just one way, QR code, scan with your phone, and you will be able to have done a KYC. So it will become much easier, and Europe will provide that. And it also will become more difficult in crypto, and Europe will also provide that. They want to protect the consumer, They want to protect. They want to prevent whitewashing and terrorist financing and all kind of stuff. And so we'll basically follow that legislation to see how good it will become. But Dutch people can listen to this guy, Vincent Janssen. He's a really good expert on that field. But I was amazed how fast KYC, European KYC, and European identity was moving ahead. Okay, I think we're done for this. We're done for this week. Thank you very much, Idan. We're going to watch the Bitcoin conference today. What do you think? Do you have any idea what will be on the agenda? What will be on the agenda?
Yeah, I haven't seen something extremely exciting. There'll be some announcement. You never know, of course. And there's going to be a lot of discussion on Lightning Network and a lot of regulation. There will be one of the senators from the US senators is going to present, and some guys from the venture capital world who's going to talk about Bitcoin. So let's see. I will listen. I will watch, and we'll give some updates. But
so the future of Lightning, I definitely will be watching that.
That was yesterday, huh? So that was Thursday.
Oh, this was 3:45, but it was 3:45 a.m. I don't understand what it means, but that will be PM probably. So then we have the macroeconomic landscape. Okay, we'll see that.
Ukraine.
Oh, we have here. This is you were saying, the Ukraine.
Yeah,
that will be interesting. I'm going to watch that. An announcement, open stage, a miners meetup. Well, okay, you are the carbon they want to reduce. Okay, mining, building. Coin joins and coin swaps. What is that? Collaborative Bitcoin transaction. No idea what that means. Institutional infrastructure.
Yeah.
A block stream is always there. So my God, we're only at 10:30 a.m. So these are. There's a lot of different tracks. See if there's if there's anything interesting out there. The annual state of the Bitcoin. That will be interesting. I would like that. I'd like that.
Yeah, so you have the US
We should go there next. We should go there next year. There next year.
Yeah,
I think we should take one of our clients with us. I mean, maybe we should have a trip that people who basically the clients of DiamondpigsTV, that they should be coming over to us. I think that will be a lot of fun. Okay, one last remark. If you want to become a client of DiamondpigsTV, we would love to recommend it to you. And you can the easiest thing is to go to diamondpigs.com and basically make an account, or you can come to a webinar, and I will be there showing you the platform, showing you the different strategies, showing you how it works. We'd love to answer all your questions. You will probably also meet a couple of people who are our clients. They like to. We always invite one client to basically say, hey, how do they use the platform? And the idea is it's your wallet, your money on a safe, secure place, and we provide the strategies, and we're completely transparent in how we do that. So we'd love to see you there. So I want to thank you very much, and we'd love to. We see you next week. Okay, bye. And thank you, Idam.
Thank you, Vincent.